This video is on writing equations, and what I mean by that is we're going to look at a word problem and try to draw out of that word problem what we know, what we don't know, how we're going to figure it out. And that's going to require a couple of steps, so we're going to look at those steps today. So here we have a fairly standard problem about a Mayan ball court. And the goal here is you want to make a model of this Mayan ball court. You know the ratio between the length and the width of the ball court, and you know you want your model to be 54 inches long. So we have to figure out what the width of your model should be. The first thing I'm going to do is relate the various things in the problem to each other. So I'm going to say the length, and I'm going to say the length is. The next thing I want to do is look at the problem and see what the length is. And if I notice, the problem says the length is 2.4 times the width. Okay, so that's sort of the main point here that I want to make, and I want to illustrate that. So I have the length is 2.4 times the width. So the length is 2.4 times the width. Now I've related all the things in the initial problem. And now I have to figure out what do I know and what don't I know. Well, in terms of my model, which is what I want to be talking about anyway, I really don't know the width. So the first thing you want to do is define a variable. So we're going to say w equals width. And you always want to assign variables and figure out what they're going to be equal to. So w equals width. And then, do we know the length? Well, in terms of our model, we actually do know the length. We know the length of our model is supposed to be 54 inches. And then there's just some translating we need to do. Is always translates to equals, so 54 equals. We keep 2.4 the same, 2.4. Times is an indication of multiplication, so we know we're going to do multiplication. I'm going to put my multiplication in parentheses just to make it easy. And then what am I multiplying by? I'm multiplying by w, the variable I've defined as width. So what you notice has happened here is I've actually translated the problem and the essential pieces into an actual equation, an equation I can solve. Now if I want to go for solving, all I have to do is do some division or plug and chug until I find the answer that works. I'm going to choose to do some division and just see, okay, 54 divided by 2.4 and see how that comes out. $22.5. So in this case, w equals 22.5. And there I've taken a word problem and transferred and written an equation. This middle step here I refer to as the verbal model. It's a sort of in-between step between the actual word problem and the equation we end up with. The verbal model just helps you lay out how is all of this related, how do all these things connect.